Hey everybody, welcome to a conversation on the Sermon on the Mount. We're in week 3 of part 2.
Part 2.
Yeah.
Number 12.
First part we talked about Beatitudes, and then we're in there for 9 weeks or 12 weeks?
9.
9 weeks?
This is number 12 of all of it.
This is number 12 of the entire
Mount
thing.
Sermon.
Mount Sermon.
Mount Sermon.
Or Lake Sermon. There's a moment Jesus
Lake
was
Sermon.
sharing
Lake Sermon.
with people he cared about, diverse group of people, what he thought was, I don't know, maybe most important.
It feels like if you have a moment, like you have a captured audience, what would you say? What would Jesus say? And Jesus, in this moment of this extended conversation, really talks about this upside-down perspective of culture and of world of moving from the external legalistic to the internal transformation. Yeah, it's good.
That's good. And I think, too, it's like talking about the kingdom of God and the upside-down world and just thinking about how it impacts them right now and not yet, and what the kingdom of God looks like, and also how they can practice living out the kingdom of God in their immediate world, which feels complicated.
Yeah, and well, last week we talked about it being the hinge of this all by Jesus said, unless your righteousness surpasses that of the Pharisees, and that was like the gasp in the room, because there were presumed that there were Pharisees in the crowd, and that was like everybody turned to, I'm sure, to the Pharisees. Well, one, nobody could, is the first perspective, but then two is like, wow, you can't defame somebody who is that righteous, and it's not only is it impossible, it's pretty offensive to say that somebody could surpass that righteousness. And it being the hinges that he continues on by, which really starts next week, but this concept of, well, this week, because it's like the cliche Christian thing. Well, is that a Christian thing? I haven't killed anybody.
I think that's a people thing.
Oh.
Yeah. I haven't killed anybody yet. Yeah. At least we're there.
Yeah. As of today,
I'm pretty good. Yeah.
I haven't killed anybody.
That's good.
Yeah. And so Jesus starts a series of, you've heard it said,
Don't murder.
Don't murder. I'm telling you something even more intense. Don't be upset or angry, and don't call somebody a fool.
Yeah, and as the offenses seem less, the consequences get more.
Yeah.
So it's like, do not murder, you're going to be in trouble, and then your heart, and then you're going to end up away from God if you even call someone a fool.
Yeah.
It gets more, the consequences get more intense as the offense gets smaller, and I think that's really confusing, but really interesting. Like, I went to bed last night thinking about that, or maybe it was this morning. I don't remember anymore. But at some point, I was.
You went to bed late.
I did go to bed late, but I also got up early. But just thinking about why that would be, and I was like, I think it's so much easier to catch yourself when the offense is small. And if like Jesus is sitting here going, okay, like this worse offense, like you still need to really pay attention to that. Like if you don't pay attention to that, it's going to grow and become more and more intense. And so I was just thinking about, why would he put so much intensity in what seems to be the least showing contempt towards a person, or the smaller offense. And I just was like, if you can catch that when you feel contempt, like in my car, I called someone a dummy. And
what?
I know. It was from Rich.
How did Mike respond?
Well, it wasn't Mike. Jack is in the back,
Jack?
and he's like, Mom, you can't say that. That's so mean. And I'm like, I know, you're right. But I don't really mean it, and...
But I don't really mean it.
I didn't really mean it, because, But that, like, those small moments, like, I feel like those can be they can happen often. Yeah. But you can also correct those a little easier than when that contempt grows into more... like really calling somebody a fool and really meaning it. Someone I don't know. It just, How do you stop it early?
I love Luke 9. Like there's this, I think, a gospel narrative moment that seems very easy to skip over. I don't think it's very commonly referenced or thought about. But in Luke 9, 51 to 55, there's this turn where Jesus, it's like the resolve to go back to Jerusalem. This is leading up to his eventual arrest and persecution and crucifixion. But with that, they pass through Samaria. It's like again moment, and as he's passing through, the Samaritans there basically say, "You're going to Jerusalem. Get out of here." So they kick Jesus and the disciples basically from passing through the region. And James and John, the sons of thunder disciples, they go, call down curses on them, look out, Jesus is going to strike them with lightning. And it totally is a great moment. It could have been a great moment of smiting, but the moment really ends. Jesus turned and rebuked the disciples, and they went to another village. And I think the context of the moment builds into the remarkable, because before it, we see in John, contextually in John 4, it's before this moment, Jesus has the interaction with the Samaritan woman. And I think a great, smiting moment to call somebody a fool or dumb or whatever is to go, you are an idiot. I prove that I love you guys, that I want relationship with you. That was part of the pretext in it. And again, Jesus diffused the moment, just walked away. And then the next, you turn the page literally from Luke 9 to Luke 10, Jesus shares the parable of the Good Samaritan, which if there would ever be a moment when I would pick somebody else. I was going to share this parable of the Good Samaritan, but we know how they treat us. And so thinking about the degree of offense, but also thinking in the midst of that is that merited somebody being dumb. The problem, I wouldn't call you dumb if you weren't. Here, Jesus, in the midst of that moment, I mean, I say that kind of in jest, but really, in the midst of that moment, Jesus goes, it's okay. Let's just let this be. Let it be. We'll go on. And there's something internally has to really change before when you lay down your right to take a swing at somebody.
Yeah.
And be humble.
It's interesting. I think we've talked about this a few times where kind of jokingly, talking about how shame works and shame changes people and all of these things. But the words that I feel like we kind of jumped in, but just in Matthew 5:21, it's you've heard it said, you shall not murder. And anyone who murders is subject to judgment. And then it's anyone who is angry. So just angry with a brother or sister will be subject to judgment. And then anyone who calls them raka, which is empty-headed or worthless, is answerable for in court. Anyone that calls them just a fool, and it's a moron, is in danger of hell. And I just feel in that, when you just think about how some of these things, it might work immediately to treat someone like that, but what does it do to our own hearts? And what does it do? I mean, it does something to the other person, but it really does do something inside me when I'm looking at people with contempt and kind of seeing them as worthless, or just forgetting that I don't know. I think contempt is just such an interesting word, because it's the dehumanization of other people. And when you forget to see people as human, when you forget to see them as people, or people that matter, maybe that's a better way of saying it, it's really easy to just treat them however you want.
I think that's why I like that Luke 9 context, is because the Samaritans were seeing Jesus and the disciples dehumanizing them.
Yeah.
And it was not Jesus. Well, James and John show their wanting to reciprocate.
Mm-hmm.
Dehumanizing is such a good word. And then Jesus doesn't lose sight of that, and is able to honor somebody by just let it go.
Yeah.
Let it go.
Let it go.
Yeah. There's a therefore in this text,
Mm-hmm.
and so I think again here it says, So there you are, offering great things to God, worshiping God, giving sacrifice, honor to God, and then you remember that you've offended somebody or somebody's offended you. Relationship is broken, and again, the spiritual or religious person would say, "Boy, give extra sacrifice."
Yeah.
But here Jesus says, "Leave it. Just leave your offering there."
Yeah.
And then go make things right.
Yeah, which is interesting, like you said that. First of all, the sacrifice for a lot of the people was 100 to 200 miles away.
Yeah.
It's a day or two trip. Maybe it's less than 100 to 200 miles, but it's far away. It's definitely a multi-day trip. But you're right. You would go to the altar and just be like, "No, forgive me," extra hard.
Well,
I'm really sorry.
part of the sacrifice you're bringing is for your. I mean, it's for your failing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what other way is there to fail other than hurting people?
But this is saying, no, you have to do the hard work. You have to go have a conversation, which isn't fun, which is really uncomfortable.
Yeah, could we talk after this?
No, I don't want to. But that's actually, that's the hard work. Going back and talking to somebody and really rectifying the relationships Like that's hard. That's not easy.
The order
That's tough.
matters. Order matters.
Yeah.
And Jesus is not saying that sacrifice and offering and worshiping or reverence to God is worthless, but he's saying what really makes that valuable is the hard work of making relationship right.
Yeah. We should all talk after this.
Wow. Paul, Romans 12, as much as it depends on you, live at peace with everybody.
Also hard.
Yeah.
And even like following the Beatitudes and following all the things about being a peacemaker and what does that look like, and trying to understand what shalom is, and that's like the reconciliation and wholeness and all of these things. And it feels like it's just bringing shalom again into the picture. Like, just how do we make things whole? How do we make relationship whole? How are we in right relationship with God, and righteousness being in right relationship with God and right relationship with people and right relationship? And it's just so much of the Beatitudes, so much of what Jesus is talking about is relationship. I don't know. I don't even know where I was going, but it just feels complex.
The Pharisees they were really good at making their sacrifices, doing their offerings. And so Jesus to say, unless your righteousness surpasses that, and then his next thought is to go, even let us, setting aside your religious obligation to make things right.
Yeah.
I think that's that's a contemporary challenge in the greater church, is to let your religious obligations set aside to make sure you're at right relationship with people.
That was where we were talking about peacemaking. But the peacemaking part is still part of the hard work. It's not just pretending everything's okay. It's I feel like when I pretend everything's okay, I'm not at peace.
You're not very good at pretending.
I'm not very good at that, no. And I'm definitely not good at it. But I'm also not at peace. I'm not at peace when I feel like things are broken. And the only way sometimes, and Greg and I were even talking about this a couple weeks ago, is sometimes part of peacemaking is just letting things go, and not everything has to be talked about. But at the same time, if I feel like I'm not at peace and it changes how I am in relationship, I might have to process through it a little bit, which is the hard work, because I like to not do that. I'd rather avoid it.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah. Again, and I just love it that Jesus has that whole experience, and then this next parable that is shared by Jesus in Luke is, let me tell you about not a priest, a Levite being the hero, but a Samaritan being the hero.
Yeah.
That
Unexpected.
shows that, for whatever that means, Jesus worked through it. Go ahead.
You got anything? Rich's wrap up.
I just like that. I like the the idea of when Jesus was unpacking if you remember that you're not good with someone, leave your gift, go be reconciled, come back. I think gifts are meant, at least at this time, were meant to be the freshest, the best thing, right? And Jesus is not saying leave it, go and have this long, drawn out, week-long conversation, then come back, because your gift is not going to be the freshest, best thing at that point. I think that we conflate making things right with a huge fanfare-ish thing, whereas what this is saying is just be humble. Go and say, we need to talk. Can we, I'm sorry I did this, we et cetera, et cetera. Okay, we're good, and go. I just think, but it's so important. The idea of right relationship with people, right relationship with God. I think we say too much as humanity. Well, I'm good with God, so I don't need to be good with this group or with these people or this. And it's tied together. It's intertwined. And that's life.
That's a hard Rich's wrap up. That's real. It's great.
See you next week.